Good morning, everybody. This is Cassie Stumo. I am the marketing specialist here at EAC. We will begin today's session with an introduction of EAC, and then Ryan Trump from PTC will be presenting to us starting on how you can start down your digital transformation journey with PTC's Industrial Internet of Things platform. Everyone will get a recording after this session is finished, pending any technical difficulties. Please feel free to ask questions along the way and we'll answer them after the presentation. It's important for everyone to understand that our mission is to transform the way companies design, manufacture, connect to, and service their products. We are not only a value-added reseller for PTC, but we are the #1 solutions provider for PTC in the country, something EAC is very proud of. We have experts in 22 areas of product development, and we are located all over the US with our headquarters in Minneapolis. We offer our customers everything they need for product development, such as Creo CAD software for product design, service lifecycle management software for managing service documentation, and software that helps you manage your product data, such as Windchill, ThingWorx, Navigate, and we have our own customizable EAC productivity apps. We implement the Internet of Things and augmented reality into business strategies to help jumpstart initiatives around digital transformation and connecting all things in your company. We also assist with design and engineering projects like FEA, simulation, reverse engineering, and proof of concepts for our customers as well. And we offer webinars and PTC certified training courses for continuous learning. We are also a commercial reseller for Formlabs, offering their latest products in additive manufacturing. The Form 3 is now available with packages starting at $34.99. So please keep us in mind. We have solutions to help your organization save time and money throughout the product development process. Thank you for taking the time to listen to who we are. I will now hand it over to Ryan so he can get started.
Thanks, Cassie. So quick introduction, my name is Ryan Trump. I'm an application engineer here at PTC. Today we're going to be going over the ThingWorx platform. And we're just going to start with a couple of slides here just to illustrate a little bit about what ThingWorx platform is all about, what it can do, and all of that. So to kind of baseline this is in its 8th major release. So the platform includes the industrial connectivity, also known as Kepware, foundation, analytics, studio, as well as flexible integration and orchestration framework. There's also pre-built ThingWorx apps as well. So the ThingWorx manufacturing apps, ThingWorx Navigate, software content management, as well as ThingWorx Asset Advisor for service. And to top all that off, we have a great supporting ecosystem, and that's comprised of our professional services, customer success, IoT University, the developer portal, a large number of IoT partners, as well as our PTC marketplace. So ThingWorx is going to give you complete platform capabilities, and it's going to help drive industrial innovation through 5 different phases. So step 1 is to source the data. So this is going to enable your developers and solution builders to incorporate and aggregate data from anywhere, whether that's an edge device in the field or an enterprise business system. With the data in the platform, you're now able to contextualize that data in a model-based environment so that you're able to structure it in a way that makes sense to everyone. You can now gain valuable insight through analytics, simulation, as well as prediction, which will help drive action and results in physical and digital systems by automating processes that connect your business systems, your data, your products, and your physical operations. And with all of this, you're going to enable people to better perform and make decisions, and that's by clearly presenting relevant, compelling information on desktop, web, as well as mobile apps, as well as cutting-edge augmented reality experiences, including native HoloLens authoring. And this is all on a secure and scalable architecture. Now, the first step in any application is to connect to your sources of data, and ThingWorx is going to make this very easy, regardless of where that data is coming from. So like I mentioned, anything from a remote device to your enterprise business systems. And these connections with these edge devices can be made in several ways, and we can go ahead and just build this slide out a little bit. So we have our always-on protocol, and this is going to give you the most robust, secure, IT-friendly bidirectional connectivity. That's going to be including file transfers and remote device access, as well as many other features. We also have the ThingWorx Dynamic REST API, so any device, system, or language that is capable of REST HTTP requests can communicate with the platform. We can also support proprietary protocols, and that's made simpler using the Protocol Adapter Toolkit. And we also support emerging standards such as MQTT and CoAP. There's also native cloud support for AWS, Microsoft Azure, GE Predix, Exida, and many more. Where you can easily connect and communicate with thousands of industrial devices and systems using Kepware, also known as ThingWorx Industrial Connectivity. So it has drivers for over 150 different PLCs and controllers, plus OPC UA, BACnet, and MQTT. It's also possible to include digital content from your engineering system, so something like PTC's Windchill PLM platform. And with ThingWorx Open Connectivity model, it's also possible to connect with business systems, something like SAP or Salesforce. However, all that data must be contextualized to make it useful, and different sources of data don't necessarily speak the same language or even use the same format. So the data could be structured, unstructured, or time series. So in order to create that proper context, we have to put a model in place that the consumers of that data can understand without being taught. And that's what the ThingWorx Thing model does. So model-based development, and specifically our ThingWorx Thing model, is going to give many different advantages. So for one of the big ones is it's going to enable the drag and drop mashup development. It can also eliminate the need for your developers having to build or maintain a database schema and even write low-level code for tasks like data ingestion or triggering business logic. Now, these modeled things are the basic building blocks of a ThingWorx application, but what actually is a thing? Well, a thing is a digital representation of your physical object. And this thing is going to be defined by properties, services, events, and subscriptions. Now, property is going to be a piece of data relating to the thing. Now, these can be static, like a serial number, or they can be dynamic, like a temperature, pressure, RPM, speed. Services are functions that a thing can perform. Now, they can be very simple, something like an SQL query to a database, or even execute some JavaScript code to perform an action. Events are things that can happen, so this is a virtual flag that gets sent up. There's built-in events, such as when a property value changes, a timer goes off. You can also define your own custom events as well. And these are then subscribed to by other entities in the system. So a subscription is an action that executes when an event occurs. And subscriptions could include triggering a phone call, an email, a text message, automatic service ticket creation, however you want to respond. So the next thing we'll do is go ahead and switch over to ThingWorx. And what we're going to do is just start off by going through a completed application. So we're going to be looking at the Beam Pro Espresso. And this is a company invented for demonstration purposes. This is going to be showing some connected products as well as some connected systems in here as well. So this is, once again, just art of the possible, something you could create. We'll first start off by going into the Roasters tab, and by default, we're going to be looking at the location view for all of our roasters across the entire United States. Not really getting any information yet, but we can drill down into the regions where we'll maintain our map view on the right, but now we're also going to start getting some high-level information about all of the roasters that are associated with this region. So we're getting some live updating data on the graphical representations here. And maybe we need to take it a step further. Maybe we need to go to an individual view. And this is going to be faster updating and more detailed than what we've previously seen. So real-time data uploading on our graphical updating on our graphical representation, but now we're also pulling in trend information here as well. This is the actual trend of the coffee that's being roasted, and the thinner lines populating in are the actual readings, and they're mapped to the target range, which are the thicker lines. Next to that is the external weather data that we're pulling in, because that is very important in the roasting process. So having that information here will help us make decisions about adjustments to our process. So if anything needs to change day to day, we have that here. We can view it and make those changes right away. But we can actually take this a step further. So this is in the front end, but we can also incorporate that into the back end as well and set it up in such a way that the system itself can react to any changing conditions outside and automatically make the adjustments for us. So we can just take out the human interaction part and have the system do it for us. Roaster properties here, this is just another way to display some additional properties that maybe don't fit on the graphical representation. This is going to be in a grid view, and we can see these are still going to be live updating here. Next up is going to be an example of what happens when an event occurs. So we can throw in our cell phone number here, and we have our chamber humidity threshold. So this is the number we don't want the humidity to violate. And we can move this around as much as we want down here. And there's just a service in the back end firing, basically comparing the two numbers, waiting for something to happen. However, nothing will happen unless this value actually violates the threshold. And once that happens, I'll get a call trigger to my phone.
Important coffee roaster at Carpenter, chamber humidity 89.0, over limit 73.0. Product is at risk. Important coffee roast.
So almost instantly, I got a call triggered to my phone letting me know that the roaster at Carpenter Road, the chamber humidity has been violated, and we need to get down there and fix it. Now, we could have taken any number of actions on this. We chose to do a call. It could have easily been a text message, an email, service ticket creation. However we want to actually respond to that particular event is entirely up to us. Next up is going to be the operations tab. And this is going to be the view for the area sales manager. Now with this, they're going to be able to see all of their stores as well as the trucks in the delivery fleet. And this is made possible by integrating a few systems in here. So we have an order management system, we have our warehouse management system, we have our customer relation manager. We also have our connected coffee trucks that are submitting their GPS location as well as the connected coffee machines at the stores. So we have a lot going on here to make this application possible, and this is all bi-directional, so this isn't just a view-only type scenario. We do have the ability to actually interact with these systems. So if we need to place an order for, let's say, our Starbucks here at East Jefferson, we can select on that. It'll give us all the prior information, so it'll give us the information about the store, the order history, so our previous order, and as well as it's displaying the current level that they have, so we can decide based on those numbers how much product we actually need to send them. So we can go ahead and select on our truck here, and we'll just throw in an order for French roast. Now once I press submit, that order is now kicked off into all of our systems, and that truck has now been sent a dispatch request to go and fulfill the order. And we're getting the confirmation here on the screen. Now everything we did was entirely manual through a user interface, but in reality, this would also be automated. So we would have this set up in a way that the system would be able to automatically respond to any low inventory. And once it detects low inventory, it would then be able to automatically submit an order for it and have it delivered automatically. So it wouldn't have any human intervention with that at all. The last thing we'll take a look at here is going to be the dashboard. So this is an area designed for anyone who's interested in this application, who runs this application, to come in and create personalized views. And this will be different for each named user. So if we have someone that's responsible for the Great Wolf Lodge specifically, well, they can come in here and add a few gadgets that helps them do their job better, and they'll be automatically displayed here. So no more clicking through the application to find what you need. You come in here, build it once, and you're going to be good to go. So that is a quick tour of what a completed application could look like. Of course, there's a ton of customization that you can do inside of the ThingWorx platform. But the next thing I would like to do is actually jump into Composer itself and show you around a little bit of the back end to get you more familiar with it. So we're going to be doing what I like to call ThingWorx 101. We're going to be working with the thing template. We're going to be working with a thing, and we're going to be using those for mashup development. So what we're going to go ahead and do is start off in our thing templates. It's going to just make sure that I'm authenticated once again. And we're going to work with this simulated truck template. Now, the beauty of the thing templates are that we can come in and define all of those properties, services, events, and subscriptions once and be able to reuse them over and over and over again. So if we have a fleet of delivery trucks, we can very easily just reuse this template for each individual truck. And I will show you a little bit what that looks like here momentarily. So to start off, we have our properties here. And once again, this is a piece of data relating to a thing. So we have a set of properties on the template, and we're also inheriting some properties from what we call a thing shape. Now, a thing shape is very similar to the template, but it has a different use. So with a thing shape, this is going to help you reuse some capabilities across multiple things without duplicating functionality. So if we had a refrigerator truck and a vending machine, they both share a cooling functionality, so we could create a thing shape for the cooling functionality and reuse it for both objects. Next up are services. So these are pieces of JavaScript. There's a built-in snippet library that can really help speed up any creation of these custom services. So we can have services pretty much do anything that we want. For instance, we have one here that's doing get history. So this is going to take the period start and end dates as parameters. And then ultimately, it's going to call an out-of-the-box service called query stream entries with data. And what this is going to do, it's going to run that service and it's going to give us back all of the information about that truck between that period start and end time. Now, if we wanted to create a new service, it's very simple to do so. It's simple JavaScript, so very easy to find support pretty much anywhere. But there is a great built-in snippet library here. So we can see we have 723 here in the product. And they're all broken down for you in categories as well as subcategories as well. So if we know what we're looking for, so I'm going to do a remote REST web service query and I want to get a JSON result from it. So I'll search for get JSON. All I have to do is click the arrow. That script will be automatically loaded in for me. And the only thing I have to do is go in and fill out the supported parameters for this particular service, and I'm good to go. So within a couple seconds, I have the script loaded up, and I just need to do a couple tidying up things, and we'll be good to go. So this really speeds up the implementation of any custom services in your model. Next up are events. Remember, these are virtual flags that can be sent up whenever an event occurs. So whether that's a data change event, anything like that, can be done automatically. Now, I'll note that these don't perform actions. These don't really do anything besides raise that flag. And that's where subscriptions come into play. So subscriptions will take the action upon the event. So there's some inherited subscriptions we have here. We can create all of our own custom ones. These are very similar to services as they're both written in JavaScript, but the services respond in terms of a user interface event like a button press or something of that nature, and subscriptions respond to the events on the thing or thing template. Now, once all of that is done, we can actually use this template to start instantiating individual trucks. So we have a few already created here, and I'll just go ahead and view one very quickly, just to show you that everything has been automatically inherited from the thing template itself. So that in a nutshell is a thing template as well as a thing, very simple to create and Now with those created, we can actually go ahead and start using those for our drag and drop mashup development. And one more thing about the actual template here is that at any given time, if we ever need to go back and add something new in, whether that's a property, service, event, subscription, it doesn't matter. If we ever need to go back and redo something on it and add some information in, that's going to automatically propagate to every individual entity that is actually using that template. So if I went in and added 8 new properties that I wanted to track against, well, all of those 4 individual trucks would automatically inherit all of those properties. So next up, we'll go ahead and jump into some mashup development. And these are web apps. We'll go ahead and give this a quick title. And everything in here is completely drag and drop. So all of our UI elements will be all drag and drop. There's no coding involved. However, with the newer releases of ThingWorx, we do have the custom CSS capability that will allow you greater control in styling your visual elements. There's a built-in styling, but the CSS is going to give you a little bit more advanced control over all of the elements. So on the left-hand side, we have our widgets. So there's a ton of widgets right out of the box, and you can add more through going into the ThingWorx marketplace and downloading them there, or develop your own custom ones if that's something you're into. Direct Center is a canvas where all the visualization widgets will be laid out. And over on the right is where the data that powers our widgets will be stored and able to be used inside of our widgets. So let's go ahead and start laying out a little bit of how we want our mashup to look. And we're going to use the layout widget here. And this is just going to help break up the screen a little bit into individual screen regions so that we can have a little more finer control over how our widgets behave. So once that's done, we'll go ahead and start populating these with some different widgets. We'll grab a grid, we'll grab a Google map, and we'll throw in a couple of gauges as well. So within a couple of seconds, we have something already starting to take shape here. We all have a little alert down here at the bottom that's basically telling us, hey, there's no data bound to any of these. So if you want them to display anything, you need to bind the data. And we'll go ahead and handle that now. So we'll navigate to the top right, click on our plus, and we'll search for our simulated truck template. There's a ton of out-of-the-box services that will help us get data out of these templates. For this one, we're going to be using query implementing things with data. And this is going to see that this is a thing template, but also see that there's 4 trucks associated with this template. So now we'll be able to pull the data for all of the trucks that are associated. And we'll also check this mashup loaded box because we want this service to fire when the mashup is loaded. Now with this, we're going to be having 2 different data trees here, and one's all data and one is selected rows. All data is going to be great for our grid and our map because we're going to be displaying multiple properties in one singular location, and selected rows is going to be great for displaying individual properties on our gauges. And you'll see why all that makes sense here in a bit. So we're going to go ahead and bind our all data to our map as well as our grid. Now we're going to have to do a tiny bit of configuration to get this to work properly. So to start off, we're going to go to our grid. We're going to check auto select first row, but we're also going to configure our grid columns. By default, everything is automatically displayed, and that's not what we want. We want to just have a few different properties here that we pick and choose to be displayed. So we'll just do trailer temperature, humidity, as well as our coffee inventory on each truck. Next up will be our map, and we have a location field here. And this is a good time to mention that everything inside of ThingWorx is strongly typed. So in that any outputs will only go to inputs of widgets that match the same data type. So in this case, location field, this is only going to accept a longitude and latitude value. Therefore, the rest of them aren't even showing up. So, we're not going to bind a string to a gauge or an LED display, or we're not going to bind a numeric property, to a location or something like that. So we'll go ahead and do that, and we can also add in some tool tips as well if that's something you want to do. We'll go ahead and add in a couple just for fun. And now we'll navigate to our selected rows. So we'll go ahead and bind our trailer temperature to the data point of the gauge, and we'll do the same thing with our trailer humidity. So with that, our to-do list is cleared up, and we have this nice sort of wiring diagram showing here on how we actually wired everything here. Now this is very simple, so it's very easy to trace how we bound our data, but when you get in something a little more complicated, something like the Bean Pro that we saw, it's very useful to have this feature here so you can see the way your data is flowing and what it's flowing to. So we'll go ahead and view this and see what it looks like. Sorry about that. Our network's under a pretty high load this morning, and we have a lot of people on demos and things like that. So we're running a little bit slow on the internet today, but our mashup's now loaded. We have our first row automatically selected, which automatically pinged our gauges, and also selected the truck that we were looking at on the map. Now we can click through this on anything. So we can click through on the grid, or we can click through on the map here to look at specific trucks. And you'll notice as I'm clicking through, automatically everything is loading for me. So as I click down, all the gauges ping, as well as the grid selects on the truck that we're looking at inside of the map. Now, if you're a web developer, you know how tedious it is to get something like this to work, but with ThingWorx, it just works. And that pretty much concludes the content that I had planned for the webcast today. So at this time, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions and answers. So if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the Q&A section.
All right, Ryan, I'm not seeing any questions now, but if you do have any, just go ahead and send them to me. Those of you on the call will get the recording of the webinar shortly. I want to thank you, Ryan, for that presentation. Hopefully that gives everybody an idea of how this platform works and how it can work for you. You can find our upcoming webinars on eacpds.com/events, or if you'd like to see any previous webinars to date, you can go out to our webinar replay library to watch them. So thanks for being on today, and have a great rest of your day.